Happy Monday. My name is Kayleigh. Welcome to my channel. Those sheep are right beside me, if you're wondering. Okay. Welcome to your weekly Futhite rune reading. How'd that eclipse treat you guys? Speaking of new moons, Ingvaz is the first rune. Number 22. The hero god Ing, or Freyr. This is the seed. Signifies that there are new beginnings. But sometimes new beginnings take some time to gestate. Also, that in order to fertilize for these new beginnings, there must be endings as well. It's a complete circle. It's a cycle. Can't have one without the other. And there may be certain things coming to a close right now, but it's to make way for whatever is gestating in the background. Second rune for this week. Thurisaz, Thor's hammer, murky. It's the principle of brute force. When two polar opposites come together and create kinetic energy, being that it's flipped over, it's the danger of violence this week. It's a warning to beware of compulsions with the opposite sex in particular. Thurisaz is a kind of energy that you can use to protect and defend yourself. It coming out murky suggests that maybe you're not doing that, or it's being used against you. It's been a while since I've taken out my book, but I feel like I want to, so I'm going to read you what it says about the inner rune lore for Thurisaz. The Thurisaz is the sign of pure action, potency, and instinctual will, devoid of self-consciousness. It is the embodiment of directed cosmic force, and the multiverse is a combination of polar energies projected in a straight line. I said it was flowery, but this form of raw power is held, on the one hand, by the Thyrses, or the giants, and is directed against the consciousness embodied in the Aesir, which would be those that seek spiritual strength, spiritual enlightenment. The gods, in my view, it's anybody that's on this path. However, the Aesir are able to combat this power and match might with might through their defender, the warder of Asgard, Thor. The TH rune is therefore not only that of the Thyrsus, but also of the thunder and its god Thor. By the way, there was thunderstorms last night. I woke up at 4 in the morning. This is due to their common origins as the result of the clash of polarized forces, and also shows their common methods and motivations. Each is a reactive force. You react from your unconscious, right? The Thyrsus respond to the expansion of consciousness in the Aesir, and Thor responds with Mjolnir to the resistance of the Thyrsus. Thus, a balance is achieved, but a precarious balance. Thursaz is an assimilation of the potential energy contained in any two polarized extremes and the kinetic expression of them. Could there be a clash this week of polarized, divided extremes? On the global stage? On the collective level? Through this mystery, the TH rune is also the power of regeneration and fertility. As the thunder heralds the crop-bringing rain, so Thursaz breaks down opposition and releases energy so that new beginnings can be made. The sheep agree. Here it is closely related to one of its formal correspondences, Berkana, but Berkana is the releaser and Ingvaz the container. This is the container, the seed, like I said. This tension is perceived by most individuals as a source of stress, but to the few Aethelings or Aurelians it is a source of strength. The thorn is not only a symbol of the phallus. I basically have a giant dick symbol on my arm. But also of the whole psychosexual impulse used by Aethelings to transform the self. Sex, i.e. the Kundalini. It is rather clear that on one level the TH rune is an expression of the combination of Fehu and Uruz, fiery energy organized and directed, force and formation combined and directed. Fire and force combined and directed. Anyway, I see a potential clash between opposite extremes this week on the collective stage. In the last rune, what is our outcome? What energy are we heading into, provided this path is followed? 818. Interesting. I feel extra mystical today. Evas. Fascinating. Fascinating. Thursaz talks about, well, two opposite poles coming together in the awakened kinetic energy, right? This is that kinetic energy traveling up the spine or up and down Yggdrasil, just depending on which way you want to look at it. So this is number 22, this is number 3, and this is 13. Evas. It's the vertical axis between the magical or mystical and the mundane. Is the spine or the column of the world tree, or the we'll leave it at that, the spine or the column. It's the flow of energy between the two. It came out upright. meaning that there is a harmonization between inside and outside, above and below. It's the ability and the can you hear the dogs barking at each other? Two polarized forces clashing. Interesting. Fuck, I lost what I was saying. It's the ability to make the mundane magical, or to bring the magical into the mundane. It's the awakening of the Kundalini. And it only happens through discipline. I mean, it can happen spontaneously, and there's the potential, if that happens spontaneously in someone that's not ready for it, it can make you a little bit crazy, literally. Perhaps this is what is waiting in the seed that's gestating. And perhaps this clash between polarized forces is what's necessary to break open the seed and for something to burst out. Whether this is good or bad, I can't really say. If it's good, well, is anything really good or bad? These are things I think on. I mean, yes. From this level of consciousness, yes. There is good and bad. But if the result is some kind of awakening, or the spark to light, the inner fire to light, for a desire for a higher level of consciousness to light, was it really bad? Something happens that inspires change, was really bad. Alright, my friends, have a good week. If you can, use this energy to protect yourself rather than allowing it to harm you. And be patient with whatever seeds have been planted. It takes time. It takes time for things to grow. And certain things require rest before they will gestate. Right? Like, once you plant seeds, you don't go messing around with the soil around the seed. You wait for it to germinate. Okay. Peace. Have a good week.